Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest today is Matt Hughes, the king of video. Matt started as an IT apprentice, later becoming a Microsoft SharePoint expert and consultant, speaking at conferences globally in Singapore, New York, South Africa, Berlin, and London, just to name a few. He started his video company, Kinetal, in 2013 as a way to film weddings and maybe make some cool videos, which he does. 6 years later, he traveled the world making videos for anyone from billion-dollar companies to one-man bands and entrepreneurs. Now he teaches people how to make better video, be it one-to-one through his video strategy calls or in his King of Video Facebook community. Matt has launched a professional video editing service, Editing on Tap, which allows you to tap into your professional team and extend your in-house team for a fraction of the price that you'd pay a freelancer. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks so much, Jim. Delighted to be here. Thanks very much for having me.
I'm going to like this one because I get to learn stuff about video, which is something I'm actually doing. So that's going to be interesting. Got to take the glasses off. I am now officially blind. Everybody knows that. I don't invest in contacts because it's part of the show. So
yeah, no worries.
My first question I ask everybody that comes on the show, at least I think it's everybody. Yeah, pretty sure. That what made you want to become an entrepreneur?
I don't think it's one of those things that really, it wasn't like a decision, hey, I'm going to do this now. I think what happened is with the video company, we created it because me and my wife were getting married and we wanted a video of the wedding. And, you know, I kind of said, well, we looked around, we couldn't find anyone that did what we wanted. And then a friend of mine did one that was like a music video. And I asked him what he was doing. He said, hey, I'm looking for a job in like a Walmart or something like that. And I said, oh, forget about that. Let's start a video company. So, and then we started the company. You know, I invested like £20,000 and we bought loads of equipment and stuff. But it wasn't like I woke up one day and said, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur. You know, it was one of those things that I just thought it'd be really a cool thing to do. And then slowly, maybe like 2 years in, I kind of realized that actually what we were doing was quite a big thing. You know, we started traveling and we were making cool videos for people. And then I thought, actually, I think I can say I'm an entrepreneur now. Like we've got people that work for us. We're creating stuff. We're making our own destiny. I think now is the time we can say yes. It was really hard at the start. You know, I remember people asking me what we did, and I sort of whispered that we were creating these videos, you know. So 2 years in, I think about 2 years in, I was really confident enough to say yes.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Some people it comes out of need. Some people it comes out of solving a problem. For others, they just need to do their own thing because they can't just go to the 9 to 5 and punch the clock. In your case, I think because you already had a expertise, it was kind of like, okay, I have this expertise and I need this done. Hey, let's do this. You know what I mean?
Well, kind of. I think the bit you said there was two parts that you said that was quite interesting. One was about being unemployable. Like I say that all the time anyway. In 2 previous jobs, I'd been suspended from my job. So I think I'd kind of realized at that point that I should probably not be employed by anyone. I mean, both things, I ended up getting 6 months paid leave and I ended up going back to the job. So it wasn't like I really did anything that wrong. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. You know, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they say the same thing. Like there's always something missing. Like there's always more, they want to do more. Mm-hmm. And whatever it is that you're doing in your sort of 9 to 5, it doesn't really feel like that's the purpose. And I still don't think that video is my ultimate purpose, but I certainly just know that I enjoy doing it. There's no effort in it. It just feels like
that's awesome. But you kind of realize that there's something else in your heart to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Do you know what it is yet, or are you still in that spot where I know this is what I like to do, but there's something else in me that I love to do?
Yeah, well, so I built the company with a guy. He worked for me for the first 4.5 years, and after that time, he left and he created his own company. It was actually he created a competitive company, which was quite hard at the time. Mm-hmm. But at that time, I reevaluated everything. I was like, Matt, what do you really like doing? And I realized the 2 things that I liked doing was training and video. So that's really where, and it took me another year before the King of Video brand came about. But it's at that point I realized that this is what I need to do now. Like, I need to put my flag in the sand and say, you know, I am here. I'm the King of Video. Let's see how many people we can take along with us on this journey.
That's
it
awesome.
sounds a bit woo-woo, but I think that's fair to say. I think that's how a lot of people take people along. And like I said, I don't know if that's the end purpose, but it's certainly the purpose that I'm on right now.
It's the phase that you're in right now.
Yeah.
And I think we go through that. I think we all go through phases, and things evolve as we go. And sometimes the evolution of that is painful. Sometimes the evolution of that is just exciting and wonderful. But has there been any, as you mentioned the split thing, and also, you know, is there anything internally, externally that kind of held you back on your journey or affected you?
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's so many things, and I think from a personal development point of view, it's so interesting now being 6 years in. Actually, this is the 7th year we're in now. It's so interesting being there because you don't realize how far you've come until you look back a little bit. And I think when I first started, I had a very victim-led mentality. I was very like me against the world. Everything happens to me, and you know, that's with the upbringing that I've had. That's a very hard mentality to change. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, 6 years, almost 7 years in, I have a completely different view of the world. That everything happens, but it doesn't happen to me. It just happens, and I get to choose how I deal with that situation. And that change in mentality is a real, for some people, and certainly for me, it takes a long time to understand that that's the way the world works.
I had someone on the show, and it kind of changed my paradigm of things too, because she talks about quantum physics and law of resonance harmonics, or harmonic resonance, and says basically everything's our fault. We've actually done all of that to ourselves. And once we take ownership of that, instead of blaming the outside sources or the things that we think that are out to get us, then we can truly be free to do what we want to do.
Yeah, so it's personal responsibility, right? Like, and that's the difference between being victim-led and taking personal responsibility. So when I say things happen, they don't happen to you. That's the same. It's the same thing as taking personal responsibility. Like, how have I changed the perspective of what I see in front of me now? What have I done to affect that? So again, it's looking at what you can do, because then what happens then, the great thing about it is when things happen externally, you don't have to then take responsibility for those things. You know that you don't control them. And equally, when there is things that you can't control, you accept them for what they are, which is the thing that's happening in that moment. So this is definitely not video, but it's totally
get that.
Totally part of the entrepreneurial journey. I think if you're not doing that personal development stuff, I don't know how you could succeed. You have to put the work in to yourself as well, in order for you to move forward with your business.
Yeah, I believe your business is a mirror of who you are on the inside.
Absolutely, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, until you fix something, not fix. I'm saying at every level, you meet a new part of yourself that you need to either get under control or figure out how to deal with whatever pops up that's inside of you that you never knew was even there. Yeah, it starts to hold you back.
You know, in systems, it's continuous improvement. If you've ever done agile development or anything like that, or project management, you know, you're constantly looking at those things as part of a project, but you never, well, it takes a lot to go and do the same with yourself and sort of look at, well, what parts of myself do I need to improve in order for me to move forward? And they're the kind of things where, it's fascinating when you start doing it. You know, you mentioned the person with the astrophysics, physicist and stuff, and all those different things, and I just find it fascinating now, whereas probably 10 years ago I probably would have said that sounds a bit woo-woo and a bit boring and I'm not interested.
A bit of
but
rubbish.
Now I'm fascinated by all of this stuff, you know. Give me more.
It was completely mind-blowing. I have to redo the interview because the video went bad, so I got to redo that one Sunday, but it was incredible. It really was. You'll have to watch that. It'll blow your mind. It really will. But I want to get more into what you do and, you know, with video and how deep do you go and all that stuff. I want you to tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So when we first started the business, we were doing events, you know, like exhibitions, that kind of thing. We were filming people that sponsor events, large Microsoft events. So, you know, 20,000 people. And we were doing that, and that was great. And that enabled us to travel because those events changed city all the time. We were doing European events as well. And that was great. But over the last 2 years, since we had that sort of split of the guy that worked for me, I kind of changed direction slightly and said, I want to really focus on having more impact personally. So that's how the personal brand came about. And we've started doing things where I'm working with people in the Facebook community on a sort of group basis. So I'm helping people with their confidence, helping them get in front of camera, and doing strategy calls where I'm helping people, anyone that decides, okay, yes, video is definitely the way forward. Where do I get started? Those strategy calls are really great. It's like an hour-long call, and I help people really own in on their, like, the thing they want to do, you know, where their audience lives, how they want to reach them, what their plan should be as they're going forward. So I think the journey of the business really has been going from purely corporate-based events video through to now doing online courses, working in groups of people, strategically looking at how we do video. Because, you know, I think the thing is, if you know a lot of videographers, you'll find that you can get them anywhere. There's tons. You can go to your local college, you can get videographers. And I think the difference with what I do, certainly, and what my business does, is we look at things in a bit more of a strategic overall view of what you're trying to do, rather than just coming along, hitting record, and then giving you some footage that you can do whatever you need to do with it afterwards.
That's good. I'm just asking because I know a little bit, but I don't know a lot. Do you teach people how to, like in lighting and different things like that, and actually how to shoot the videos, or is it more of a planning on how to use the videos?
No, so I teach people. I've got a mobile editing course online that teaches you how to edit stuff together. I teach people all the time. Like one of the presentations that I've got is called 21 Ways to Make Better Video. And that all starts with your mobile phone. So I say to people, hey, they'll come to me and they'll say, what camera are you using? Like, what camera should I buy? And I say to them, are you creating lots of video on your mobile phone? And they say no. And I say, well, don't buy a camera then. Until you're comfortable creating video, there's no point in going and spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a good camera. Just start creating videos now. And then I'll say to them, people will say, oh, you've got the same phone as me, but your videos always seem to look better than mine. And I say, yeah, because I've got a ring light, or I've got a lapel microphone that I'm using, or I've got a stabilizer device, a GorillaPod, something like that. So I'm telling people all the time, like, these are all the different things that you need in order to maximize what you have already. If you want to go next level, that's fine as well, and we can help you with that. But let's get you started right now with what you've already got. That's
really good. I think people try to get the new toy too much, and they worry about having everything first. And I think that's also based out of fear. Yeah. I think it's based out of lack of confidence and a fear, where they're going, oh, I need the camera and I need the lights and I need this and I need that. And they never do anything because they're always trying to put all that stuff together and always have.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, don't let me make you think that I'm not that guy, because I am still that guy.
I'm speaking to you.
yeah, you are, absolutely are. You know, I always tell people I have GAS, which is gear acquisition syndrome.
That's awesome.
Problem, right? But you know, and I love tech. You started by introducing me. You know, I started in IT, and so I still love all the gear. But, you know, and I've spent thousands upon thousands. I must be on about $50,000, you know, on equipment. And ultimately, what do we really use on a day-to-day basis? Probably about $5,000 of equipment. So the other 45 is just extra stuff that I've bought over time. I mean, you know, we've used it all, so it's not like it's a waste of money. But at the same time, you know, I buy the gear because I'm helping people make their decisions as well. So I say, well, I'll buy it, I'll test it out, and if I think it's good, I'll tell you, and then you can go and buy it. So there's, and again, you know, it'd be great if I got my YouTube channel to a point where people would send me stuff. That would be nice. But
there you go.
Meantime, you know, I'm doing that because I love it. I love testing all the devices. I love finding out, you know, why does the Logitech Brio work very differently to the C920? Well, it's the sensor and all that kind of stuff. You know, I love getting into the geeky techie side of stuff as well.
I need to learn the geeky techie side of stuff, to be honest. I don't, it's not that I don't get into it, because I do, but
Yeah.
I don't have time for it anymore. I got so much to do. It's crazy. You know,
It's like
I still work a full-time job. I do this. I have 3 interviews today, you know, so it's like I've got so much to do.
Yeah.
Plus the editing, plus the uploading, and all that stuff takes forever on YouTube. If there's any hints on that, because it takes me, I think it's 2 hours to upload a video right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like we do a Facebook challenge every first week of the month, and I have this similar sort of people to you. They come into the challenge and they start with the same questions. Matt, what camera do I get? And I say, guys, let's forget about gear for a second. Let's get the confidence up. I know you said you were confident, you're fine doing videos, but a lot of people, that's already the blocker. That's the limiting belief that they've got, is that they can't show up on camera and they have like 2 handfuls of excuses as to why they can't stand in front of the camera and talk, which is just madness. Like, if you've ever been to a networking event, it's the same thing to me. Like, talking to a camera is just the same as talking to a person. I just imagine there's a person behind the camera, and then it doesn't feel like there's any difference. But people hit that record button or that go live button, and they are like frozen with fear.
They freak out. I've seen that too. I've seen that, but it's not so bad on here, because I try to help people to be relaxed, and you know that. You tell some jokes at first or something, just to get people to, oh, okay, this isn't too bad, you know, type of thing. But I didn't think I needed to do that too much with you, since your 2 videos.
No. Like, you know, but you see it in people's if you're interested in body language and stuff as well. Like, you see people physically like clam up. You know, their shoulders go, and they can't look at you if you're on the screen or in the camera. They just can't do it, because there's so much that goes in your head when you hit that button. It's fascinating, really. But the reason I do the challenge, because a lot of people said to me, oh, you shouldn't do a challenge every month, because nobody will ever buy anything from you. They'll just keep showing up for the challenge. And I'm like, you know, yeah, okay, I do want people to buy stuff, but ultimately I know that if I help them in the first place, they're going to remember the guy that helps them, not the guy that just tried to sell them something every time. I still try and sell something at the end of the 5 days, right? Like, it's not totally, what's the word?
Pushy?
No, I'm thinking the opposite. I'm not doing like it's not totally charitable. I'm not like some guy that doesn't need to get paid.
Well, yeah, of course. But you know what? This is what I tell people. I love what you just said, because you said, you know what? If I help enough people, the money's going to come.
Yeah,
and it does. It just does, because then people, the more value you give someone, the more they trust you, the more that they know that you're the expert on it, because they can ask you questions, and then it works out great for them. They have good results. So then they look at you like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm going with him.
Yeah.
And the thing that you're doing is called reciprocity. And so you give, and people are like, hey, I want to give to that guy, because that's the guy that helped me to do stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this very situation, right? I don't know, we've never met before. No, I don't know how we connected or anything like that. But it's something that I was putting out into the world has got in front of your eyes, and you've said, okay, I can interview. So the same thing, really. Like, I could do it totally and just be constantly out. Here's the thing you can buy from me. Here's my courses. Here's my group, my strategy calls, which I do a lot of the time as well. But I also say, hey, here's some advice on like why you would use your front camera on your mobile phone versus your rear one. Or I'm doing one soon about, like you're doing now, videoing the podcast. So I'm going to show people how to film their podcast, because people keep asking me that question. Matt, should I film my podcast? And I'm like, you are mad if you don't film your podcast.
I'm going to be looking into that one. Just kidding. Yeah. I'm serious, because I might pick up something that I don't know now.
Yeah. But this is the kind of thing that I'm putting out there, because I know like that reciprocal, I can't say it. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I do.
That idea of people wanting to give something back to you.
Reciprocity.
Yeah. That's when I put out a content calendar, which you've probably seen loads at the minute, because it's 2020 and everything. And I had something like 15, 20 people buy it. But the main thing that I really liked about it is a few people said to me, Matt, I love the stuff that you put out, I've been waiting for you to give me something that I could buy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because they are consuming content and I'm giving away a lot for free, and they just want something that means something to them. And so when I made that offer, it was a no-brainer for them. They were already sold. That actually, someone said to me, I've seen all these content calendars, but I wanted one from a trusted source. And I said to them, thanks so much, because what a wonderful compliment somebody could, because to her, it probably didn't mean anything to say that to me. It wasn't a big deal. But for me, when I got that as a compliment, I was like, wow, that's what a wonderful thing for someone to say to you, that you are a trusted source. Because that wasn't my intention to be that guy.
It's that, and you're genuine, and I think you really care about people. You really care about, them, the person. You can tell the difference between someone who just wants to sell something and someone that really cares and is passionate about what they're doing. And people just want, they want more from you. More. I like what I've seen. I like the things that I've learned. I want to know more. Yeah. And so that builds that relationship between you and the people that you serve.
Yeah. And you've probably, if you've been in that situation, I've had meetings before where I've sat across from somebody and they're telling me what they've got to offer or whatever, and we're having a conversation. I'm like, come away from the meeting thinking, what does that guy really want? What does he really want? There's something not right with what he's just said to me. My wife is fantastic at this, by the way. If she's in the meeting, she can see it, and she's like, Matt, don't work with that guy. He's a sly guy. He's not a good guy. Yeah. And I mean that like male or female. But for me, I'm very like open arms, trusting. I'll trust anybody really. So I'm quite.
You got to have the wife be the filter. There you go.
Absolutely. I try to be the best in everyone, but my wife has got that real. She can just call it every time. I mean, 9 times out of 10, she's told me if something's going to go south, she said it on the first meeting of someone, which is a massive talent. I wish I had.
I have some of that. Because I really look at the person, and I'll talk to him a little bit before I get on it. I can kind of tell what kind of person that is, who that person is on the inside, just by talking to him for about 5 minutes or so. You can kind of get to the certain questions you ask people is really what you can tell. Yeah. You just say, oh, what made you want to do this, or what is your motivation, your why? And once you know that, you can tell whether that person is driven by money or driven by help. There's two different types. There really is.
Yeah, I think the thing is, because I've been an IT contractor as well, IT contracting in the UK is very well paid, or certainly is for the stuff that I do. So what you realise when you get a certain level of money is actually getting more money is not a big issue. Like, I think I'm sure they said it's something like £57,000. There's like a certain amount where that's the amount of money, that anything more than that is just extra stuff. Mm-hmm. But up until that point, it's a struggle, right? So obviously being above that, all of a sudden you start to think less about like what's more important, money or what value I'm getting out of life. Like, you can be more altruistic. That's the word I was thinking of earlier, and say, okay, I've got more time and more energy to give out to the world because actually my finances are good. When you're not in that good place, logically, you're living in lack a little bit because you're always trying to get to that level. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. So there is some desperation in there.
Desperation, yeah. I mean, I don't like the word desperation necessarily because it feels a little bit.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, when you don't have, I don't think everybody comes from that mindset, but some people, when they don't have, or they're poor, they have that poor mindset. They come from that type of it's not, I guess maybe desperation is too strong of a word, but I'm saying you can kind of tell. Yeah, it's I need this really badly.
And I totally understand it as well, Jim. Because that's where I came from. I absolutely, like, my daughter, who's just over the way from me there, she's 12 now. At a certain point when she was about 1 or 2, I remember taking money out of a piggy bank to get bread. Like, we've been at the lowest financial point there is, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, okay, there was still money in the piggy bank, so not quite the lowest. But that felt low. From a pride as a dad, that felt like a low point. So going to the opposite end of the scale and having money, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I need to do more for other people then. And so when I see people come and they've got that kind of desperation, if that is what we're calling it, desperation or whatever, that
Yeah, whatever it
I
is.
feel for them, because I understand it. I get it. So I'm kind of like, for some people, I'm just like, look, tell me what you want, because you can be honest with me and I can just tell you if I can give it you or not. And I'm not talking about like a financial transaction, but like a value transaction as well.
Sure, sure.
I really need you to film my event and I don't have the money to pay you, but I have 75% of it. Okay, so then let's figure out how we can make that happen then. But if they try and they don't want to say it, or they don't want to tell me how much their thing costs, it's like, just be honest, be open, and let's figure it out, because we're all human beings.
Yes. No, I totally agree with you. I think that there needs to be more of a open conversation about money between entrepreneurs. I think that's hard, because no one wants to come off as a salesy person or a person that wants this and that, but yet we need money to live. So there's got to be some sort of balance. And I like what you said about the the energy exchange, because there is an exchange going on.
Yeah.
I've had other people where, hey, I know how to do this and I'm really good at this certain thing. Let me do this for you. You can do this for me. And then we kind of trade off and things like that too. That happens as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And like even this whole thing, right? Like so I'm giving you my time. Mm-hmm. That's my exchange of value or energy or whatever. And you're giving me your audience. Mm-hmm. So there's a reciprocal value that we've exchanged in this situation, right? But yes. Even outside of that, I've seen people before where they say, oh, I don't want to do that interview because the audience is too small. And I'm like, but really? Because you only really need one person from that audience to go, he's the guy I need to book for my event in Vegas.
Exactly.
So how can the audience ever be too small? Why not just do the thing? If you've got the time, like, do I have the time on a Saturday? I'll be honest with you, Jim. I don't have the time.
I'm sorry.
This is my family time. No, that's not what I'm saying. I've gave you the time because I agreed to it, right? What I'm saying to you is, do I have the time? No, but have I made the time because it's important to me to do these kind of things? Yeah, so the value to me is important, as is you giving me your audience. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it is a value exchange. And you have to be careful on either end to say that, I'm going to not take advantage of your giving your time or that type of thing,
Yeah. And that's on me. So don't apologize, because if I really didn't have the time, I would just say to you, sorry, Jim, not today. And we scheduled this ages ago. So of course we would have done it at a better time if there was one. But for me, I just thought, well, it's a Saturday. I can do that. That'll be good. And it's something I look forward to, these kind of things. Right. So sorry if it came across badly there. That's not what I meant.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I have a thing where I like to, I'm a giving person. I like to give rather than take from people. And if I feel like I'm taking too much, I feel kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, that type of a thing. Yeah. And that's something I got to get over as well. I think we all have our things,
Yeah,
I really do.
But,
so go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go.
Okay. So I was going to ask another question based on what I've read, what different things I do. So you offer one-on-one coaching, and you offer a Facebook class and a group and a challenge every, I think it's first week of the month, pretty close.
Yeah.
And can you explain to me, like the one-on-one coaching, is it a coaching for how to use videos or how you shoot videos? So, what is it for?
Yeah. So really the strategy call is about like you effectively you come along with a problem that I try and solve, and that could be anything. It could be a gear related problem. It could be scheduling. It could be not having an idea. One thing, for example, I gave out the other day, which I'm going to do as YouTube videos, is I said to people, hey, tell me your industry and I'll give you 5 video ideas that you can do straight away. So it's that kind of thing where people have common problems with video. The tech is the problem. They don't have clarity on what they're trying to do. They're not sure about the content that they're putting out, or the confidence, as I mentioned before. So it's solving all of those things. And on a strategy call, a one-to-one call, I just ask, I think there's about 5 or 6 questions I ask about your business, that by the end of those questions, I can then give you the direction that you need.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's you mentioned it earlier when you said that time is the problem. And you really want to learn about all of this stuff, but you don't have time to go and put into learning about the gear. So really what I'm doing is fast tracking some of that information. Because you might say there's like preconceptions are, I really want to do a video, but I find that the quality of my camera, my webcam, is not so great. Like, so I'm thinking about getting this camera. And then if you said that to me and explain what that was, I'd say to you for sure, yes, go and get that camera, or no, go and get some lighting. What I'm trying to say is the questions that you have inside that you'd got to research, I just answer those questions, and then it's fast tracked to get in the end.
It takes all that guesswork out of there.
Yes,
you can go to the library and read 100 books on a certain subject or a certain thing and become more of an expert, or you go to the expert and have them help you.
Yeah. And that's consulting in a nutshell, right? Like, the reason consultants get hired is because you're paying for their experience and expertise. So it's the same thing for me. I've done all the work, I've bought all the gear. I've told you I've spent thousands of pounds on this stuff. So, why bother? I can just hope you get there.
That's good. If you were talking to someone that was just starting with video, they're just starting out, they don't really know what they're doing, stuff like that. What resources or what advice would you give them? So I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. I would say just get on your phone and start creating stuff. The creating of stuff is super important. Like, when people say to me, I can't think of ideas of what to talk about. And so I say to them, a simple way to get started, if that's the way you feel, is talk about what you did today and what you learned today. And that's easy. Today, I woke up, I went to the gym, had something to eat, and then I saw Sharon down the street, and we got talking about this, and then this reminded me of that business lesson when I did this, that, and the other. So all you're doing is saying what you did today, which is easy because you can just recall it, and then something you learn off the back of it. And we learn every day. Every day there's something new. It might be my kids playing the piano, which teaches me that if I actually put the effort in, I could learn to play the piano too, right? That's just an example of something that's happened in my day to day, So what you did today and what you've learned is the easiest way to get started. And then once you start creating those videos all the time, what happens is ideas just come at you all the time then. Like, me and my wife go for dinner, and she says I only take her for dinner for content, because we'll be sitting having dinner and she'll give me 5 ideas. I send myself emails all the time, like, talk about this thing, talk about this thing, talk about this thing, because we reminisce, of course, as a couple, and then it reminds me of all the cool things that I can talk about related to video. That's cool. No, that's cool.
If I answered the question, but
oh no, you did. I'm trying to. I want to also ask you: is there anything coming out new, or do you have a new challenge coming out, new course coming out, anything that you would like to talk about to our audience?
So the monthly challenge is probably the thing. The best way into what we do is through our monthly challenge. So our monthly challenge you can get at kingofvideo.co.uk/go/live challenge. I change the back end of that every month, so it always takes you to the new group. But basically, that's a Facebook group, and what we do is we try to get like 50 people in there, and they're all in the same position. So they're all struggling to create video. They're all struggling with consistency. And so in that challenge, I give people 5 days to do a video every day, either a video or a Facebook Live, whichever they're comfortable with. And I give them the topics. So what I do is I take away all the things that are excuses as to why they can't do it, and I make it dead easy for them. And then at the end of that, I say, hey, if you like this stuff and you want to be consistent, you can join my membership community where we do this stuff all the time. So that's as transparent as it gets, as the purpose of being there and what's the offer. But some people that come along, we've been doing this 3 months now. We've had some people that have been in the challenge every month. They've never joined my membership community, but they come back every month just to be a bit more consistent and to try video. And I'm sure eventually they'll join the membership community, but I don't really care. The first week of every month, we have such a wonderful community. Everybody supports each other. Everybody goes and watches each other's videos and likes them and comments. And it just gives you that real confidence boost to get started with video. So from an offer point of view of how to get into my world, that's the way to do it. I think that's the easiest route. And at that point as well, you can decide, do I like this guy or not? Or shall I just leave and find someone else?
I'm pretty sure they're going to like you. We will have all the links and everything right in the description below. If I'm on my game, we'll have all the, no, I'm just kidding. No, we will. when the video comes out, and I think this one's coming out Monday. I think that's it'll be coming out Monday.
So so the first challenge, then the next one is the 6th of January. But it's always the first Monday of every month. So it's easy to remember. That's why I do it as consistently, to just remind people, hey, you can show up every time at the start of the month and you can practice.
That's really good stuff. That's really good. Now, during that challenge, do you coach them a bit, or how does that work? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. So what I do is on Sunday evening, I will sort of welcome people in. So when you go to the link, you join the group, but I don't let anybody in until the day before. So everybody comes in at the same day, which is Sunday evening. And then I would give like a few little tips. So like how to hold your camera, how to talk to people about stuff, and what you can expect from the next 5 days. And then through that, what happens is, depending on the group and what happens with the feedback, depends on what I talk about it. So it's still fresh every month, even though the challenge is the same every month. The outcome of it is always different because of the people in it. So last month, for example, we had a woman that she was doing the challenge, and on the 3rd day, somebody commented that she kept saying during the videos. So, and this hit her like a truck hitting her. She was like, I don't know how to show up now because I'm worried about saying that quite often. And effectively it was just a troll, right? Like somebody's watching her video, she's showing up and doing all the right stuff, and that's making that other person feel inferior, and it's holding a mirror against them and saying, why are you not doing this stuff? So it's not about her really, but to her it feels like it is. So after that happened, I was actually in London at a gig, so I couldn't talk about it straight away, but the next day I was so passionate about it. I did a Facebook Live to the group for 20 minutes where I talked about all the reasons why trolls show up and what's important and how you move on. And thankfully the next day she still managed to do her video. It was quite late in the evening. She said she really struggled, but because we'd managed to talk through it and what had happened, it helped to show up the next day.
That's really good.
Yeah, it is. And because what happens, of course, is when these people show up, that's the easiest moment where you can go, you know what, this is not for me. This is not for me. I'm going to go do something else. So I was really very proud of her. And actually, the great part of that, of course, is she joined my VIP group afterwards. So
that's cool.
Of course, that's not my intention for helping her. I just wanted to help her through that. If she hadn't have done it, it wouldn't have made much difference. But I think giving her that time then gave her the confidence that when she joined the VIP group, that she'd be constantly supported and helped as well. So
when you said that confidence is one of the main things that people don't do video, the funny thing is if she was struggling with that in the first place and somebody's putting her down for something that now she's more conscious and more aware of, hey, I'm not good at this, or I'm a failure at this, or that type of a mentality, it's difficult to get back out of that mentality, continue to push through. So you did a good job with her. I really appreciate that for her, because of the fact that, you know what, that was one person that we could have just never did it again.
Yeah. And she's a nutritionist, so she helps people with weight loss and stuff, right? So like she knows what it's like for people falling off the wagon. She'll see that stuff every week. Yeah. So same situation. I was so surprised that she needed my help at that point as well, because to me she comes across so confident, but it just shows that it doesn't matter how you are in the world. Everybody needs some kind of coaching. Like I'm in a mastermind. I've got a personal coach. I mentor somebody else. Like I always feel like you always need that support, whether it's from a Facebook group or a one-to-one coach or mentor. I just think it's super important to have those people around you that can bring you up when you need to, or pick you up off the ground. Sometimes that's how our life is. So,
or to motivate you and put their foot somewhere that you can go.
Oh, I have those people as well. It's usually my wife.
Yeah.
Come on, Matt, let's go again. Let's go again.
Come on. What are you doing? You're doing
Yeah.
like 100 other things and you're supposed to be doing this one thing.
Yeah. I had that today, actually.
Sorry.
I
Hit a nerve. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But anything you want to say before we close?
The last thing really to say is just, you know, video is the way forward. And you can see this now with podcasts being videoed quite often, like we're doing here. You know, I feel like it's something that people think they want to do, but they put so much in front of them to stop them doing it. And the real message is just to tell them that there is no reason to not do it. The only thing we need is a little bit of support in getting to where you've got to go. And then, you know, whether that's in my world and getting the support to go and do your thing, or whether it's someone else that can get you there, whatever it is, just make the steps, because people think, especially when you look on a Facebook wall or something like that at the moment, they think there's too many people doing it now. And it's the complete opposite. There's such a small percentage of people doing it that there's still an opportunity to dominate your industry with video. So don't think it's too late. As I've mentioned, that nutritionist, PTs and nutritionists, there's a ton of them doing video, but she stands out amazingly well for her industry. So you can definitely do that for yours as well. And there's never a better time than right now.
I totally agree with what you said. I think that, you know, people vibe with people different. There's people that are going to say, wow, you know, that guy really speaks to me. And then there's going to be people that say, no, that girl over there does. It's never saturated. I hate that term, because what happens is your vibe picks up your tribe, is basically the way I say it. And it's the people that are going to follow you. So if you're listening to Matt on this and you feel like there's so many people doing video, but they're not you, and you're the one that brings a special thing that no one else brings, because it's uniquely you and your personality.
Yeah. You're the only one that's lived your life. So how can anyone else tell that story better than you can?
Exactly.
So you should absolutely do that.
All right, Matt, it's been a pleasure to have you on today. Everybody, can you hit the subscribe button and the little bell thing? That'll pretty much figure out what it does sooner or later. That's kind of a joke anyway. But really appreciate you, Matt. Thank you for having for coming on with me today.
Yeah, appreciate being here, Jim. I really appreciate the invite. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, I want you to have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.